welcome back. This is our fourth installment of, I think we're going to call this Show and Tell, San Juan Island Artist Show and Tell. And today we're talking with Paula West of Paula West Pottery. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So this is all part of I guess it's a giant series of showcasing people who will be on the studio tour, June 1 and 2.
Correct.
Is that right?
That's right.
66 artists from 23 studios.
That's right.
That's really something.
It's a big tour this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that kind of at the end, but let's talk about your, what do we call it, practice?
Studio work.
Can we call it practice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So pottery, this is like a passion for me. I haven't thrown a pot since high school. I should have stayed with it. I really should have stayed with it, but it's so fun. And so you're lucky to be doing it all the time.
I am. I feel that way too.
How long have you been in pottery?
I have been in pottery, it will show my age, since college. College I focused on ceramics.
So
Yeah,
and 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, long time. And after college, I didn't do a lot for quite a while. I just little bits here and there. And then when I moved to the island and set up my studio, when we bought our property in '93, was when I really hit the ground more full time. Part time, some of that when I had my kids and other work. But so it's been 30 years ish plus.
So you started the pottery as soon as you got settled here. Is that a coincidence, or was it like part of the decision to be here?
It was just part of the decision for going forward with what I wanted to do. And coming here, I sought that out.
It was like a giant reset.
Yeah, I sought that out. I wanted to set up a studio. I wanted to do more work and get a little more serious and have more of a daily practice. And
so where did you move from?
this is the perfect place. Most recently, I had moved from Oregon, but I'm from the East Coast. Moved west, traveled around a bit, and landed out here with the idea that maybe I'll stay if I like it. Maybe I won't. Maybe it would be move on. But
So from East Coast to West Coast.
yeah.
How different are those lives?
Oh boy, a lot.
How so?
A lot. A little mellower out here. I would say probably that's a lot of it. A little mellower, not so much old money,
So
I left pretty much just to explore and see
Right.
something new and see what it was like out, west
and then how
Oregon.
different was life from Oregon to San Juan Island?
It was actually pretty similar in a way because I lived on a small coastal town there. But fell in love with the island. I mean, the beauty, very conducive to doing artwork, and community is wonderful, very welcoming.
So in the time that you've been here since '93, has this become a more artistic place? Are there more artists here than when you moved here? Or is it about the same?
There seems to be. When I moved here, there was a group. There's always been at least a medium size group of people that
Sure.
have migrated. I mean, it calls to you to be here to do your artwork.
Right.
Seems like now there's more than ever. For whatever reason, I don't know. But
So wouldn't that be like that's like a growing critical mass, and then that attracts even more, do you think?
could be.
I mean, I would think
that that's right.
I would think an artist who just visits here or visits the studio tour feels like it's a very artistic place, a very
Yes.
welcoming place for artists. So
Yes.
you guys are going to take over.
Well, I hope so.
Wouldn't be a bad thing, right?
It wouldn't be a bad
To have
thing.
an island
I
completely
think
taken over
it's-
by artists.
Yeah, I mean, it helps. Art feeds a community, it feeds people, feeds your soul, feeds your spirit. So we need it. So it's difficult as an artist trying to afford to live here, as it is for any working people. But you make it work if you really.
So how
want it.
important is there a nexus between tourism and art sales here? Could you make a living, could artists make a living here just selling to locals, or do you really need people, tourists coming in and galleries?
It helps because it brings some new energy and new clients, customers, for sure. Personally, for me, the local community has been a huge support over the years. And that's kind of where it starts. And I think it starts there, but the tourists coming in really, you know, it's new energy, it's new people finding your work. You have to grow your customer base for sure, you know. So, and people can only buy so much pottery after a while.
Right, right.
You know.
Is that a seasonal impact, or do people come in and then they're acquainted with your work and then they buy online?
Yes,
in
that's
the
right.
winter?
Yep.
So it's not totally seasonal, right?
No, it's not totally
You
seasonal.
get exposed to the new customer.
That's right.
During season, but
That's right.
then you hold on to that.
That's right. You get their email, you send them emails, you've got
Okay.
new work, and
Do you sell a lot online?
I sell a fair amount, you know, mostly out of my studio, but when I do have new work, I put it up on my website, throw out my email, and
Pottery, you kind of need to be there, right? You need to
you
touch
do,
it
but I'm
and-
amazed at how many people will buy work,
Yeah.
you know, especially people that have seen my work.
Right.
They've either have a piece, they've been to the studio, people do.
Well, let's talk about your work. How would you, what's the 30,000 foot description of what you do?
So I make functional pottery, mugs, bowls, plates.
Feel free to show us some
Yeah.
here in this.
Here's one of my mugs. I've always made functional work. I like using functional pottery. I like having handmade things around me and to use personally. I also think people really enjoy that also, especially people that come to the studio. They can connect a little bit with me. They can take a piece home. They can have that memory when they get home. They can think about the person that made it. So I've always liked that connection that functional work brings.
May I?
Oh, you may, sure.
So you use a soda ash solution?
Soda kiln, yeah. So
Explain that.
Soda firing is what it's called. It's an atmospheric firing. And it's a little different way of glazing than traditional pottery. Traditionally, you take a pot, you dip it in a liquid glaze, it dries on the pot, you put it in the kiln and it melts on the pot, and that's typically how you glaze a pot. In this kiln, you put the piece in the kiln unglazed, and when you spray the soda ash solution into the kiln, it vaporizes, it moves through the kiln, and it glazes the pots. And very directionally, you'll see, like, for instance, this
red
piece,
spot?
for instance, you can tell that most of the soda ash hit where it's all gray here. You can see it's a little more buildup, a little shinier. And as it moves around the pot, it dissipates, and you get a little less glaze buildup on this side, so you get a little more orange flashing going on. So you get very directional glazing.
Now, these blue spots are slick.
So these blue spots are an actual glaze I put on prior to firing it.
Okay.
And then this is just raw clay that has been glazed by the soda ash in the kiln.
So that's what creates the different textures.
That's what
between
creates the
these
different
two,
textures, yep.
Which is really cool.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's kind of my technique. And it's a pretty new technique for me. I just started this 2020, built the kiln, and it was a huge shift in the direction of my work. So my work.
So Jeremy, if you go to that picture of the kiln, we can learn a little bit about.
Yeah, that would be great.
The gallery. Let's
Yeah.
go to the kiln. So this is the kiln on the screen here. Tell us about that.
So that's my brick kiln that we built in 2020. What I'm doing there is I'm spraying the soda ash solution into the kiln. It's a brass wand on a pressurized garden sprayer. You spray it in and immediately it vaporizes. The flame's coming in from the back under it. So immediately it vaporizes, and then the draft in the kiln is taking it through the kiln, covering the pots, and then out the chimney. And I go around and I spray different, all around the kiln. And I do that every 15 or 20 minutes or so for a good hour, hour and a half.
Really?
Depending on how much I want on the pots.
So each spraying creates a thin
It
layer?
creates more layer, yep, and it keeps it building. If you kept spraying more and more, you'd get thick, you'd get more drips. But pretty much you're just building up glaze.
Right.
So some folks
Let's
fire
go back
this
to that
way.
kiln shot there.
Some folks fire this way and they do real heavy soda. Some people do very light and just have a little sheen. It all depends on what you're looking for.
So that's a brick wall, right?
That's the front of my kiln. That's the front where that door is the center part, which I unbrick each.
And those are all fire bricks?
Yep, those are
stacked?
all heavy-duty fire bricks, basically held up by the corner iron pieces. It's a sprung arch kiln.
So do you walk around the back of that? Or
Yeah,
the
I go
side
around
of
the
that?
back where the burners are, and I spray back there, and I can spray down low on the sides also. So it gets pretty hot and toasty.
I would guess.
Spraying. It's pretty intense.
The temperature there is what?
2350 Fahrenheit, 2300, somewhere in there. It's really fun.
It's like a
Really-
sauna. Does it feel like a sauna? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's great.
And so you and your husband built this?
Yeah, we built the kiln in 2020. I had a potter in New York draw plans for me because I've never built a kiln. There's certain specs you need for it to fire well. We just used that to build it, stacking bricks pretty much. Ordered the brick. Brick all got delivered, and then COVID hit, and actually worked out because my husband didn't have a lot of work at the time.
Great
he
timing.
slowed down, so we had time
Thank you.
we just slowly built it. He built the kiln shed for me, and yeah.
That's a wood structure.
Yeah.
So it's an act of faith.
It is. Typically you wouldn't want walls. You would want just a slab with a roof to keep the rain out. But our footprint is not huge, so we built the walls to keep weather out of there. But
And how long did it take to build that?
we spent several months because we built it mostly like on weekends.
Well,
Yeah.
total success, it
Yeah,
looks like. And what
it's
are those
fun.
flames shooting out on the left side? What's that?
That with the brick in it, you pull that brick where that flame is coming out there, you pull that out to spray into the kiln. So what's happening is the atmosphere in the kiln is reduced. The oxygen is closed off, so there's flame coming out looking for oxygen. So that's why you have it all, and that's a good atmosphere to have to develop like your grays and your colors in your pots.
So do you adjust those bricks on the left?
I can pull them out to look in. The ones in the middle that you see too, I pull those out to look and see where the cones are at to measure temperature.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many times have you fired this?
I fire 10 firings. I do it every roughly 3 months, maybe 2 if I'm
Really?
really it's 100 or so pots in there, so it's a decent size.
So is this full-time work for you?
It is.
So the rest of the time you're creating
Yep.
the pot,
Yep.
you're throwing the pot?
Making pots, you make a series of, basically the kiln load, enough to fit in the kiln, and then you get it all ready and fire the kiln, and then you start all over again.
So it's like 3 months of work and then all culminates in
Yep.
one firing. That's
Yep.
interesting. I
Yeah.
certainly didn't think.
I mean, I could probably do it. I could probably get that timing down a little bit if I, really just focus.
And this is all
focus
you?
on pots.
You don't have
Yeah,
any
it is all
helpers?
me. I've had assistants in the past. Lately, it's just been me making pots, and it works. It's just how fast can you make them, right?
So are there still surprises, or is this you have this down now to the point
No,
where
there's still surprises. I'm still, trying to figure out what I like, what I don't like, figuring out the kiln, how to fire it, what kind of colors I can get, what kind of, here's another one I can show you here. too.
Yeah, that's
That guy there,
beautiful
that guy
finish.
there is
Look
kinda
at
cool.
that. Let's-
Yeah, it's
let's
got
show
that.
that part there.
Yep. And another cool thing about this way of firing is all the pots sit on little wads of clay. They have to sit off the shelf.
Right.
Otherwise, they'll stick to the shelf because the soda will form underneath and they stick. So you have these little circles here where the wads sit, but you can also use it decoratively. Like I had a little bowl sitting on this one when it fired, so you can see the movement. Like you can see how the movement that way is being, the soda's being pulled. It's kind of cool.
I love
but-
the rust colors.
Yeah, very
That's really
earthy.
neat. Yeah.
But then you can get these, beautiful blues and whatnot too. So it's a work in progress. It's developing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you you sometimes have happy surprises though too, right?
Oh, yeah,
You
like,
just-
why did that happen?
Right,
I'm
and then you want to do it again.
And then I want to do it again, and it doesn't always turn out the same way, which is the
Right.
beauty of it, which, makes each piece unique, too, You'll never
Exactly.
quite get it to look like that again.
Exactly.
Be different. So, as well as the handmade quality of it, which is, each piece is different, the firing is unique that way, so.
Now, the studio tour coming up in June 1 and June 2.
Yep.
Is your studio one of the 23 studios?
Yes, I'm one of the 23 studios. My husband and I are both artists on the tour. He's a sculptor, he's a woodworker, cabinet maker, and does sculpture and artwork too. So he and I are one of the studios, and I have 2 guest artists that join me every year. So it's
What kind of sculpture does he do?
he does wood sculptures, like
Oh.
assemblages, mixed media, wood.
Well, he needs to come down here, and
I
we
know.
need to talk to him.
Yeah, well,
Tell
I'll
everybody.
try.
We don't bite. We're not that rude, right? So come on down. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
That would be great.
All right. Well, what else should we talk about? Let's look at you. In addition to these beautiful pieces that you brought here, there's some photos. So let's get an idea of even more of your. That's beautiful.
Yeah, those are little bowls, a couple of small little bowls I made.
These little scores that we see.
The lines?
Yeah. Are those scores with?
Yeah, those I incise.
X-Acto or something?
Yep, I incise those with like I actually use a scalpel. When it's like leather hard, and then I inlay some underglaze. And then, yeah, so that's what the black lines are.
And is that a silver band around the bottom? What is
That's
that?
just,
Gray?
that's the gray from the soda and then the reduction atmosphere in the kiln.
It almost looks silver.
I know,
That's
doesn't
really
it?
neat.
And with the reflection from the
Oh, I
the
love the
lights.
colors. The colors
Yeah.
are just. So, is there a pattern here of a pale blue, the rust color, and then the whites?
Yeah, that's kind of what,
Everything I'm seeing here
Yep.
is.
these are all from my last firing, and in a lot of these images, there might be some older ones, but that was predominantly what I had in this last kiln.
Mm-hmm.
The blue,
So is that how it goes? You have a certain almost a
Yeah.
motif for the
yeah,
whole batch.
yeah, and you put things in different spots in the kiln, they'll look different. So it's nice to have a series that's got a similar
Right.
motif on it, and see
I love
kinda
this.
how
this
they
piece.
come out.
What is that?
That's an oval. That's one of my butter boxes. That it's thrown and altered. It's an oval shape, and it's basically a box. You could put anything in it, but I sell them as butter boxes. Put your butter in there.
Oh,
Yeah, some people put their tea bags or whatever. But it's a really fun form to make. It's really nice. It's
again,
really
there's that
challenging.
rust that sneaks into all these
Yeah,
places. I
yeah, that
really
earthiness.
Love that.
Yep.
I enjoyed when I did do that little bit of pottery in high school. I really enjoyed raku and
Yeah,
the
that's-
surprises that
yes.
came from raku. It kind of reminds me
And
of
it's
that a
very
little bit.
interactive, raku, which is really fun.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
But,
But this is beautiful, and I like the shape of that's really unique.
yeah, the oval shape is really fun. I do.
For anybody out there that uses butter, this is a product that you may want to put an order in.
It's kind of an upside down butter dish, but
Who cares? I love it. Next,
yeah. It's one of my little vases,
beautiful.
little bud vases.
So that's
And that's fully glazed, that piece. That little strip in the middle head was from the soda glaze, but that's got a black, like a satin glaze on it, which, it's been kind of fun introducing glazes into this kiln too. To see
But
how
even
they turn out.
that little light colored band is soda ash?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it can come out really white sometimes. I don't.
Is everything you're doing, is everything you're putting in the kiln now getting the soda ash
Yeah,
treatment? Okay.
Yeah,
Next.
that's one of my berry bowls. Got the holes in it, in the bottom.
Really? Those
Yeah.
are holes?
Yeah, so you can put your fruit.
It's like
or
a
your-
little colander,
Yeah,
sort of. Yeah, it's good to name these things. You don't just call it a bowl.
it
Call it
helps.
a berry bowl.
It helps.
And it's like, well, I need a berry bowl.
Yes, or for your tomatoes on your counter, or
Exactly.
your fruit, or whatever it is.
Beautiful.
Yeah. There's my stack of tea bowls.
Nice.
Those are kind of little guys.
Teacups. Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's fun to photograph things together in series, that way.
So like all those different patterns, there's 5 different patterns there. Do you just go with what comes to mind, or do you have?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just try and vary it and play. see what that looks like. And
So you're not interested in assembly line kind of stuff? You want every piece to
no,
be different?
yeah. I mean, I do a limited series, repeats, but I like to change it up. I like to just keep moving and keep.
See, that's good, because like if I
Growing
set a
that way.
table, I would want everybody to have a different, I don't want
Yeah.
everybody to have the same thing.
Yeah.
So
And then,
that's really
when
cool.
you open your cabinet, you can pick out what you want. Pick out
Exactly.
which cup do you feel like? Yeah, that is a sugar creamer set. I
Beautiful.
made with
I
some
love
older
that.
motifs of mine.
Here's that rust I like.
Yeah, I love it too. I love that.
That looks good. Is that a wooden spoon there?
Yeah, it's a little
That's
spoon that goes
good.
in that
Kind
little
of a mixed
little jar.
media thing. That's neat. I love those, the handle on that sugar bowl is really cool.
Yeah, it has some of that blue. I think I had the blue glaze on that. Yeah, another little, that's the same coloring. That same,
Beautiful.
yeah, I discovered that blue glaze turned out, and so I've been playing around with it a lot.
How did you
Enjoying it.
discover a scalpel?
Another potter.
Yeah, that's not something people have laying
No,
around.
I used to use really fine embroidery needles to incise with this Mishima. You can use any thin, or depending on how thin you want your line, but I really like a thin line.
Mhm.
So you just kind of think, okay, what's something really thin? You could use a
Yeah.
razor blade too. It just all depends on how easy it is to hold and,
Mhm.
move around. That's
Okay.
kind of but scalpel works great.
And this is
There's
this
that's
piece
that
right
plate
here?
that I
Yeah, we've been
brought,
looking at
yeah.
that this afternoon.
Yeah, those are stamped. Those flowers are stamped with a little stamp I made.
Okay,
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, you have to come by the studio.
I will. I might even buy something. That's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, so right now my studio, I have Thursday through Sunday hours.
Yeah, let's talk about your hours.
And those will expand as we get more into the season, as more people are around.
Thursday through Sunday, when to when?
Right now, 12 to 4,
Okay.
but I'll expand that as we get, probably early April, that'll change.
Okay, well, what do you usually change to? Because we're only two
Usually
weeks
I'm
away.
open 5 days a week. I'll expand to, and then sometimes I'll be working anyway, and I'll open another day. Like but I try and keep consistent hours, and I use my website to kind of update those. And if I have to be,
Should people call first?
people can call or text just to be sure if they don't want to
Okay.
drive out. And if I have any changes, if I'm gone on a weekend, I'll put an announcement on my website that says I'm closed.
Okay.
But
And the website is?
PaulaWestPottery.com.
Okay. Well, Paula, I'm excited. How many studio tours have you done?
I started in '95
Oh.
or '96.
Okay.
Can't remember, and I missed one
Oh, wow.
when my son was born. One of my sons was born in June, and I was too close.
You are a studio tour veteran.
I love it. It's a great event. It's well received in the community and supported, really well attended, and it's really wonderful to, my studio's open regularly. A lot of studios are not, so it's really nice to be able to see people
Oh, yeah.
where they work and how their process is, and
Now, you have to man your studio, but do you ever get to get out and,
not really.
yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, we've tried doing like Friday before. Usually everybody's so busy getting ready up to
Right.
the very deadline,
Right.
but
Well,
so, yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll be there.
Definitely check us out. The
Paula,
brochures are coming out
very
soon.
nice to meet
so
you.
yeah,
Thank
you too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.